And TVTN managing editor Rahul Kamal spoke to AIB member Gursimrat Khamba on his entire net neutrality issue last evening on our primetime show, Newsroom.
The Airtel ad says that this is Airtel Zero, that consumers are going to get WhatsApp, they're going to get YouTube, and they're going to get it for free. And a lot of people watching this broadcast have that one basic fundamental question: if I'm going to get it for free, why is Airtel Zero such a bad idea? Why are you also opposed to it?
Well, for starters, we're not opposed to the idea of Airtel Zero entirely. It's net neutrality as a whole that we're talking about. Airtel Zero is just one aspect of net neutrality that needs to be looked at. There's a bunch of other issues in there. So to suggest that Airtel Zero is something that we're dead against, or Airtel Zero is the only thing that we're against, that's not true at all. The idea is also, when you give people WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever for free, what you're also doing is you're disturbing one of the fundamental principles of the internet.
The Flipkarts of the world, the Zomatos of the world get together with the Airtels of the world, and then you foreclose the possibility of another small startup becoming tomorrow's Flipkart or Zomato. Is this not hugely disadvantageous to all small startups, sir?
No, see, this is a prime example of what happens when you have people who do not know engineering trying to make this very complex decisions about engineering matters. Net neutrality is a utopian concept, sounds excellent in theory. In fact, even in theory, I would support it. There are only 5 countries which have legally mandated net neutrality. And there is not a single network in the world which could implement net neutrality, because such a network is impossible to be built.
Mr. Prasad argues that net neutrality sounds good in principle, but is impossible to implement when it comes to internet architecture. Let Rohan Joshi respond. I'm coming back to you, Mr. Prasad.
Again, sir, while you may argue that we cannot enforce net neutrality, I would rather live in a world where we at the very least aspire towards it, and thus keep telcos in check from being able to do anything.
You're saying that it's being done, and you're saying so very nonchalantly. Why should we not raise our voice to try and change the status quo?
See, you can say that it's a good idea to have access to the internet, cheap, quick, and easy access to whichever website you want. Now, what net neutrality says is that all data has to be, every bit of data has to be treated the same, irrespective of its platform, irrespective of its technology, irrespective of the equipment used.
Do you think that the people will be able to mount an effective campaign? Where does your campaign go from here, Rohan?
Well, actually, here's the thing. We only have until the 24th of April, which is one of the largest problems that we have, and that's one of the things we need to address. This is a hugely complex argument. Like, one of our starting points today has been Airtel Zero and Flipkart and all of that. But the thing we cannot lose sight of is that this is literally one tiny aspect of the neutrality debate. There are issues of, in the paper, if you look at the tri-paper, there are issues of possibly asking apps to need licensing from telcos. There are issues of so many of these things that need to be looked at. Because, for example, when you take something like licensing, where the idea is that an app might need licensing or an app might need to pay a telco, that opens the door to backdoor censorship, for example, where if you are worried that an app is going to sort of affect, stand against a government or against a telco, you could just deny a license to that app on the basis of that. So there's so many complex arguments that the 24th of April or the 8th of May is not enough. There needs to be a much larger conversation before we decide policy.